Hey everybody, this is Liz from Augusta, and today I have someone very special from Augusta Nation that I would love for you to meet. There's something different about him than every other franchisee, and I want you to get to know him and hear a little bit about his business. So first of all, if you can just tell us who you are and where you're from.
I'm Vlad Kogan. I believe I'm franchisee 79. Don't quote me on that. We're Augusta Lawn Care Winter Garden, just west of Orlando, city of Orlando, Florida.
Excellent. And how about your family and your upbringing? Can you tell us a little about that?
I was born in Maryland and lived in the Orlando area pretty much my entire life. And then my sister's still in the area. Then my brother is in Maryland area, DC area. And then I have other family like in Europe and stuff. But that's it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great. What's your ethnic heritage?
My family's from Moldova. It's a small country between Romania and Ukraine. Used to be part of the Soviet Union, but split up. So I have family in a couple countries in Europe and Asia even too. Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So, did you have any lawn care experience as a kid or teenager?
Been cutting my grass at 7 years old and never worked for a lawn care company ever before I started my own. So,
Interesting. And did you not start your own before you came to Augusta?
yeah, I had my own business for about a year before joining with Augusta. Yeah.
Okay. And when you came to Augusta, I should back up a little bit. When did you first hear about Mike or anything to do with Augusta?
I think it was around May of 2021. I'm kind of a numbers guy, if you guys didn't notice from the last conference.
Yes.
So I wanted to find something more about like running a lawn care business with some numbers behind and everything. And I found Mike on YouTube, I guess, eventually. That's the only way I could really see it. And I started watching his content, and I was like, wow, this guy's really into like what I want to see. Because no offense to the other lawn care guys out there, but they're showing you about their brand new equipment or how to cut the grass efficiently. Like that's cool, that's great, but I really wanted to know the numbers. And I found some blogs and some websites before this on like how to be profitable and how to grow the business with again numbers, why ROI, what's the projected revenue for the year, and all that kind of stuff. So found Mike on YouTube, started watching his content, and it really clicked to me like what he was doing. And from there, I bought into landscape business course. I think it was like a month later or something like that in May. And, I knew he had already franchises with Augusta. So when I got lawn care or landscape business course, I knew that there was a good chunk of what this is, like what Augusta is, but I wanted that secret sauce. I wanted more. So I would watch all his videos even before when he was just doing the boot camp podcast. It was sponsored and everything. And I was watching everything from Mike. And I started implementing some of the things even that he had talked about in his videos really early on, like 2016, 2017, and to see if it would work. And I was already like, not even Augusta, already like following the systems, really like doing what he says, passing out those little gift cards for $50 vouchers for their neighbors and sending thank you cards to, brand new clients and thank you cards to leads that didn't even accept a quote yet. They're already getting a hard, stock card from me, just thanking them and then assuming the close and all that kind of stuff as well. So I got that, and landscape business course wasn't really like everything. So I got the MBA for entrepreneurs, and if I could just really stop and say, like, the MBA for entrepreneurs is just the value is just off the charts.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's, in my opinion, Mike's like best product he sells. Any service based or business owner can like utilize that course that he has, especially because it's kind of like an ongoing course that he does. I think it's really valuable. I constantly go back and review some things that I've originally we watched about loans or hiring or whatever, culture, whatever it is that he's talked about on there. It was a great product. So that was really good. So after the MBA for entrepreneurs, I was kind of like, I kind of want to like join Augusta. I just didn't have that, 20, 15,000, whatever it was. And at that time there was no solo model. So I just kept doing like watching Mike's videos and just anything he mentioned for the free content. I was like, let's do it. And it wasn't until he got the solo model later that fall in 2021, he announced it. And I was like, okay, well now this is kind of doable for me. Like, okay, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to join Augusta? Is this something I want to do more long-term? And I was in round 2, I think, of those solo models. So very soon on. So I had my calls with Lee, I think in November, December, something like that. And yeah, that's kind of like the journey. I don't know if I went too deep in it.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the solo model and the growth model, can you just share to the listeners what the differences are and why that would be appealing to somebody who is on their own and just starting out?
Yeah. So, from my understanding, the reason why Mike came up with the solar models, so someone that's young, that doesn't have a lot of capital, that wants to join Augusta can easily get in. At the time, it was like it started at $4,000. You can get in all the systems. You don't have a protected territory, but you get all the other benefits pretty much of being part of Augusta. It's just an easier way to get entry into Augusta. So, and that kind of helped me because at the time I was like solo, maybe with one employee, didn't have, thousands of dollars to start up a growth model. So, that's pretty much the difference. And then you don't have like the full service of command center where they do like payroll and P4P and everything. And then of course, yeah, growth model, you're paying, much more of an entry level cost to get into Augusta. You have full service for command center. You get a little bit more monthly coaching calls with the coaches. And then you get a protected territory. And then for those of you that don't know, it's about 5 miles from your shop space, and no other Augusta franchisee can, get customers in your area and stuff. So it's like your own protected territory. I know Lee and Mike were talking about that in the last C-suite about Subway not having protected territory. So you can kind of see the difference of what they're battling, other franchise opportunities, versus what Augusta is doing, which is, I think it's a good thing that we have protected territories with the franchise here. So that's pretty much the gist of, I think, the differences between solo and growth. Obviously, a larger company is going to have more capital. They're ready to move in. Ryan Payne got plenty of money. He joined straight into the growth model, the growth model right away. Yeah. But someone that's starting out with maybe one employee or themselves, obviously younger, it's definitely easier opportunity to join Augusta through the solo model.
Yeah, I remember him really struggling with that. Like, what about people like me? He thought that was just starting out at 18. I could have done it when I was 18. I had enough money to do it then, but I sure couldn't have gone for growth. And if he had been in solo all that time, he could have become a growth model over time. But somebody to give you a chance. And so he wanted to do that to the guy that was out there by himself, struggling along at the beginning.
Yeah. And the way that Mike his growth potential was so quick. If he would have got into that solo model, he would have grown so quickly. We have solo models within Augusta. They join within 6 months of being within Augusta, they've 30, 40, 50 monthly thousand in revenue. They grow so quickly because they follow the systems, and they do everything that we're supposed to. They're able to grow. If they didn't have Augusta and they were staying solo, let's just say, I don't think they would have been able to grow that quickly.
Yeah. You are a numbers guy. So when you joined Augusta, where were you at in employees, customers, revenue? How were you?
So I was off and on between being solo and with one employee. I had about 50, 55 recurring mowing customers at the time. And then is that all?
No. How many joined? How many employees? That's right. And where was your revenue?
Yeah, so my revenue at the time probably fluctuated anywhere from like $6,000 to like $8,000. We're in Central Florida. I was charging $60 an hour at the time, so we weren't able to charge too high prices. But we're probably doing anywhere like $6,000 to $8,000 a month. Even with one employee, we may have gotten close to $9,000. I know I had one employee before Augusta for sure, but but that's where I was before.
Did you happen to talk to any of the other owners before you joined just to see, like, is this really legit?
Yeah, it wasn't more like, is this legit? I wanted to see where people would poke holes and see where there's like Augusta's not as good as like Mike mentions in the video.
Yeah.
It wasn't really like, I knew it was legit. Like Mike has lots of videos, lots of good content, and people comment and subscribe and all that. So I wasn't worried like if this is some sort of scam or anything. But yeah, when I got one of my calls with Lee, he gave me a list of some of the franchisees, and I wanted to get different size businesses on the phone, not just small solo guys like me, and not only guys just in my area. I did contact the closest franchisee to me, which is Eric, right here in the land. I talked to him. He was very helpful. He shared what he liked and didn't like about Augusta. And then it was all good stuff, by the way. Yeah. And then I reached out to Thomas and in Denver, and I had no idea he was number one when I called him. But, and it's cool because we still talk to this day. Actually, We were supposed to have a call yesterday, but I got busy with work. So we should be chatting hopefully next weekend. And then I called Brian Connor. And again, I knew him because he also had a YouTube video channel. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, let me talk to this guy. He has a bigger business. He can probably give me some perspectives that some of the other probably franchisees that I talked to on the phone. And the cool thing about it though is I reached out to these franchisees, and I think within 24 to 48 hours, I had already talked to all of them. They're so fast to go and help someone that wasn't even part of Augusta. Like I remember Brian Connor, I had emailed. It was like that morning I spoke to him on the phone. Like it was so quick. It wasn't like they're busy. I'll get to them later. So when someone contacts me now through phone, text, or email, I try to get back to them in that same level of speed because I thought that was very impressive how all the three like quickly got back to me about trying to join Augusta. So
yeah, that's incredible. What a example to the rest of us, all the people that try to connect with us, if we would connect a little faster.
Yeah.
So now you've joined Augusta and you're starting off with your customers that you already had. Now in just a couple months, or, how were you that quickly? You already had started some of the systems. So what more benefits were added to you really once you were in Augusta?
Command Center was definitely the biggest one. Not having to like stop multiple times in a day to answer a phone call. You're 5, 10, 15 minutes on a call with, a prospective customer or a question about an invoice. So that was definitely the biggest change for sure, was just not having to deal with phone calls and messages coming in about, whatever it is, getting service or something. And then just, seeing, all the online marketing that was already available. So I didn't have to go and like try to create my own Google ad or Facebook ad or one-click estimate email. Everything was already made. I just plug it in to whatever we're using for advertising. Go. Same thing with the flyers and the door hangers and everything that we have on our pro shop. Again, the design's already made. You just order them and it's ready to go. So it's less time that I have to do like to design ads and print material. Everything's already been created. It's used by multiple franchisees. So there's no question if it's not going to work or not. You just find what service you need and you just run with it. So I think that was probably the two biggest things that took some load off of me, is not having to answer the phone and deal with creating, marketing campaigns and all that. And then it was really good to have those videos step by step, how to create a Google ad, Facebook ad, Nextdoor and all that. I mean, that was just great. It was very helpful. And we constantly keep up with all the changes that's going on. So that really, really helps out for the franchisees for sure. You don't have to go and figure that out.
Once you joined, how has it been with your relationship with other franchisees? Have you felt supported by them, or do you feel like sometimes you're just out on an island like you were before, just kind of wandering around by yourself?
So I think, going to conference really boosts and create those relationships. It's a little bit more difficult when we're on Facebook, like cold, like I don't know who this person is. I know they're part of Augusta, but going and then meeting these people in, the Southeast Conference in July or the actual corporate ones that we have now, those are where you're really like, oh, okay, you've been answering all my questions in Facebook. That's who you are. It's great to meet you. And even there's people before where I didn't really talk to him too much. For example, like Nick Reed. I knew who he was. I just didn't really have much of a relationship with him. But when I went to last conference now, me and him actually have a good relationship now. We talk on a regular basis and catch up with each other. So going and meeting the other franchisees and other people within Augusta, like corporate as well, in person, I think really benefits it and has enhanced how much we communicate together too. So we have like a WhatsApp group for Florida, for example, for all the franchisees. Going and seeing everyone together and conference was great. We had meals together. Now when we go back on, we're answering each other's questions and stuff like that. We know we can put a name with a face. We know what their business is like. We know where they're at. And we feel more like a family. And I think that's really, really good. And that really helps. I think as I get to know more and more franchisees and get to know them more on a deeper level, I feel like we're talking to each other more. We're helping each other out more. We're understanding some of the challenges they're going through because we talk to them more on a regular basis. We know what's going on. So I think it's only going to grow and get better from there. The relationships we have with each other.
Yeah. And now for the thing that I told the people that you are different than every other person in Augusta Nation is that you run your business with electric equipment. And tell us first how you decided to do that. Were you doing it before Augusta, and just your reasoning behind starting that?
So before even owning my lawn care business, I had never used any of the electric lawn equipment. Um, I was always using gas, for my own self. I use my own property. But when I decided to do my business, I wanted to stand out a little bit. Obviously,
Hmm.
like 90% of the competition out there all still uses gas and everything. And I knew that the battery stuff was kind of coming up. There was, like the Lowe's sells it, Home Depot sells it, Ace Hardware, and some other online places. So I was looking at the prices. I was again doing some numbers like, okay, well, how much is it going to cost to go electric versus doing a gas? And what's the pros and cons for it? Is there any trouble with it? And essentially, I wanted to stand out really because I knew just another chuck in a truck kind of thing. That's how I kind of started. I wasn't
Hmm.
really, if I just go around and did another push mower, it's your turn. I was going to be like every other guy, at least in the beginning. So I think what really helped me in the beginning was being electric, being all push mowers. We, do very small properties, like helped me stand out. And I think, most customers, like Mike said, don't care that we're electric. They're not going to pay anything extra.
Yeah,
It's now more become something that benefits us like internally as a company. Just easier to train, a little bit less maintenance, stuff like that, and then easily to get access of the equipment as well. So I don't think everyone should run and go get batteries. Our customers really don't care. Most of them, 9 out of 10, don't care. Um, and where's the cost savings? If you're going to get into that, it's you're buying your fuel in advance for 2 to 3 years because our batteries are average like $400, let's just say,
yeah, yeah,
and some of the other brands are even more expensive. Yeah, there's certain benefits to those other brands, but again, you have to look at it like, well, am I really going to change the needle in my business by getting these other fancier batteries? Probably not, maybe. Um, so I don't know. Like I don't think everyone has to go and get like the battery
hmm,
equipment. It's easy for us because you just push a button to train someone and the mower
hmm.
turns on. There's no like cold starts, check the level of the oil or the gas or the air filter or this and that. I mean, it's someone with zero lawn experience, which sometimes that's like half or 2/3 of my labor force
Yeah,
have no or very little lawn care experience. So getting to them to do the battery equipment is very easy for them. And especially with the churn that we have with our employees every couple like months, it's good to just be able to like train them up quickly so they're comfortable with the equipment. It's just now how do we be efficient?
for
Because
sure.
that's what we mainly focus on for training. So like I was saying, like the whole battery thing is more for us, so we're able to get people trained up faster and worry about, hey, let's focus on them getting more efficient now. And that doesn't matter if you're battery or gas at that point. So
So it wasn't because you were trying to appeal to a customer that wants to be environmentally friendly. Is that a big deal to people down there?
Not really. No, no. I mean, me as a young person, a little bit, yeah, and probably some others. I mean, there's lots of Teslas around
Yeah,
here and solar panels on roofs and stuff. So I think most people want to. They're just not willing to really pay a significantly more in price for whatever it is. It doesn't have
yeah,
to be lawn care for that example, but I think most people do care about the environment here. At least in my area, it's a pretty well off area, but again, they're not going to pay 20, 30, 40% more for just having a battery equipment. So we do have advantage where a lot of our customers do work from home even after post COVID now, and I think some of them probably do are willing to pay the 10, 20% more that we charge because they're working from home and we're much quieter. We're
ah,
not, they're probably doing Zoom meetings just like this, and we could be right outside the walls here, mowing and blowing, and they hardly hear us. So I think that's where some of our customers are willing to pay a little higher. Those that are working from home, not that they care about the environment, it's just
mhm.
easier for them when they're working from home.
And
Yeah.
night shift probably the ones that need it quiet during the day, and then their lawn
Yeah.
guys go up and ruin their sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's doctors and nurses that we service. So, if they're home alone or not home during the day, that definitely helps. That we're
Yeah,
not messing with their sleep.
yeah. So you were doing electric from the beginning, or did you use gas at all?
No, we've never put any gas equipment to this day on someone's property ever. We've always found a way to make it work. So, no, I've only been electric since day one before Augusta and when joining with Augusta. Yeah.
And is this for every piece of equipment?
Besides the trucks, until the truck prices go down for electric,
Yeah.
everything is electric. Yeah, there's our saws, hedge trimmers, string
Wow.
trimmers, edgers, blowers, mowers. Yeah, Everything's all
Have
electric.
you talked to others who use electric, and have they found that it's comparable in power to gas operated equipment?
I haven't really talked to too many other owners about it. I know some owners within Augusta and not within Augusta reach out and ask questions about it. The whole power thing, I think they're about equivalent personally. I mean,
Okay.
we have some pretty thick, tall grass here in Florida. As everyone knows, it grows really fast here in June, July, August. So, from using gas mowers from when I was, before my lawn care business, I think the power is about there. It's just more of buying, a $600 battery versus
Yep.
just getting fuel for the next year at a gas station. That's where I think the difference is. Like if battery prices significantly went down, I feel like more people would jump on to the gas power. I mean, they're light. Our mowers are like 50 pounds compared to some of these gas mowers that are like 70, 80, 90 pounds. And
Yeah.
when you're taking them on and off the truck 15, 20 times a day, that 20 pounds definitely makes a difference every time. So, and it's hot out. It's 110 with heat index.
Wow.
Definitely helps to, have to lift something in and out of the truck a little less. And there's less heat too. It's already hot enough here. We don't need a big combustion engine, right next to my arm or below me that's blowing out more heat. So it helps out a little bit.
Yeah. Do you have ramp rack trucks?
No, I want to, but it's just really expensive.
Yeah.
And with our mowers being 50 pounds, it's not a huge thing for the guys. We had some of those like wood ramps I used before,
Yeah.
but the guys just don't want to use it. They rather just lift it in and out of the truck because the mowers are so light. It's more work to get the ramp out, like position it,
Totally.
and then
Yeah.
they rather just lift the mower in and out. Yeah, it's faster too.
And do you
Yeah.
bag clippings there?
We don't. Some of our customers have zoysia grass here, and they do. But I would say maybe like 5 or 10% of our customers bag clippings.
So
Yeah.
do you try to have two mowers on the truck for each of you?
Oh, it's just push mowers. We have the baggers. We just add on the back. So we keep two mowers on a truck. We're able to have a 6-foot bed truck, and then we have two baggers in the back. So if two guys need to mow a property that we're bagging, we just throw the two baggers on the push mowers. We don't need two different mowers or anything.
Okay. And what about equipment maintenance? You're still sharpening blades. You're still using string and all of those things. Do you find any difference from what you've heard?
So you're gonna have your pros and cons with the electric equipment. They're not perfect either. There's things that batteries are gonna fault out, equipment's gonna fault out, just like a gas equipment. But I think there's definitely less maintenance. I mean, we still have to sharpen blades, we still have to replace the string, change the edger blades and all that. It's just, there's just less like the mechanical part. There's less equipment. There's no belts to change. There's no oils and no fluids or anything like that to change. So it is a little easier on us. And I think that's where, again, you save a little bit compared to buying those batteries that cost like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. So when you do door hangers or any kind of advertisement, do you mention that?
No, we don't. Like I said, people aren't willing to pay extra. So what I feel is, they sign up with us, assuming we're every other lawn care business.
Yeah.
They talk to Command Center and they're like, okay, wow, there's something different here. And we show up with all electric and they're like, okay, well, there's definitely something different. Yeah. So when we raise our prices or if we make a boo-boo and make a mistake, they're like, well, do I really want to go back to those other companies that we had before? It's okay. I'll take the raise cost and price. Or, they made a mistake once. It's okay. I'll stay with them a little longer. Or I'll stay with them longer. So I think it's more of a down the road and investment for each customer where like we don't say anything we're electric. Some of them know just because we're running around their trucks all day in their neighborhood. But like cold customers, they don't know. But I think once they see the value of Command Center and our crews out there quietly mowing, they're like, wow, okay, this is great. Especially when they're working from home. They're like, I don't want to go back to those gas equipment anymore. Yeah, they're working from home. So, yeah.
So do you have a shop space that you guys start at the beginning of the day?
Yeah, so we rent out from a larger landscaper. He does like the airport and some highways around. So we rent out $1,000 a month. It's kind of our own little fenced-in area. We can park, 4 or 5 trucks if we needed to. And yeah, we have, keep our tools and everything there. Everything's pretty much there. Yeah.
And then
It's a little different than when, the media team came out over to my house before I joined Augusta. Things have definitely changed. Yeah.
So you have electricity there, obviously.
Actually, don't. Not yet.
No. So how are you charging all your batteries?
I have to pack them up every day and then take them back to my house.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but it's all right. It's
So
part
are
of
these
doing business.
batteries interchangeable? Can you take one off
Yeah,
of a mower and put it on a blower and an edger?
yeah. So that's why I really stuck to one brand of all the equipment.
Yeah.
They may not be the best blower over there. They might not be the best electric mower. But the thing was, I wanted all the batteries to really work together. So if we needed to interchange one of them, like the batteries, then we can. It's easily, and I think it makes it simple. And I don't have to worry like, oh, we're running low on the mower batteries. Now I have to go buy some more. Well, we can just take the one that's off the trimmer and throw it on there to finish the yard. So they're all the same. Yeah.
Nice. So if you talk to any of these guys that use gas and they're thinking, no way, no way, all these batteries are so expensive, and they talk
Mhm.
about that. So give us an example of how long a battery would last if you were mowing, say, a route of 12 or something.
Well, like I tell everyone at first, it really depends on the size of your properties and the
Mm-hmm.
type of grass, how tall the grass is, if it's wet. So for us in our market, we're mainly cutting San Augustine grass, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty thick. If the lawn is well fertilized and watered regularly, it's going to be pretty long. So we might only be able to do, 2 yards. So I would say maybe like 12 to 15,000 square feet of turf, probably with that on average. Again,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on a lot of variables, but on average, some of our smaller yards, especially like Zoysia, it's easier to cut. We can probably do 3 to 4 properties with one of those mowers or with one of those batteries. Yeah. So
Yes.
we usually keep 4 mowing batteries and 4 batteries for hand tools per employee per truck to get an idea with what brand we're using. I mean, every
Yes.
brand is going to be a little different.
So you take all of these home at night, you charge them all up, and then you guys
Mhm.
all meet together in the morning and you give everybody their batteries for the day.
Yeah, they do like a checklist in the morning because the batteries are our largest equipment cost really. They're really expensive, so we have to kind of keep track of inventory for them. We've lost some in the past, and when you're losing 2 or 3 batteries in a short period of time, and so we're $1,000. So we have to be a little more cautious around like we're not losing them because they can easily fall off the truck or
Yeah.
forgotten that they're somewhere, and then it's not like like leaving a tank of gas that's might be like $50. I mean, a battery is like I said, like average cost is $400. So I have talked to other like electric lawn care people. They have like solar panels on their trucks, or they have panels at their shop and stuff. But we haven't. We're not going to do any of that at
Yeah.
least, just because it is the sunshine state. We do get a lot of sun,
Sure.
but how much sun are you going to get between jobs, especially when you have good route density, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we get our thunderstorms in the afternoon. I mean, we can't really charge batteries when it's overcast and it's about the storm. So I never want us to run out of batteries throughout the
Yeah.
day. So I'm not a fan of the whole solar panels on the truck or anything like that, because what if it's a rainy day or a cloudy day and we only have like 3 batteries with us? Like that's not going to work. We won't be able to finish our route. So we have all the tools in the morning to do the job for the whole day, and whatever the weather throws at us, it's not going to stop us. So
So
that's why I
efficiency
got.
wise, do you put the chargers in the back or like racks for them in the back of the truck or in the cab?
No, so the chargers stay at my place or wherever we're going to go in the future. But the batteries, I have those trailer racks. They sell those big boxes you can put on the side on the rails, and that's where we keep the batteries. So
Ah,
there's 2 boxes on each truck, and they put all the batteries in there with some other miscellaneous tools, and that's where we keep them when they're on the truck. And keeps them dry, keeps them a little cooler, so they're not going to get wet. Yeah.
yeah. Do you use P for P?
Oh yeah, since day one with Augusta, yes.
So do you
Yeah.
take P for P away if they lose a battery?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's like losing any other piece of equipment.
Exactly.
If they lose something, if they break something, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so they want to be more cautious about it. They don't want to lose a battery. Yeah.
And on P
So,
for P, they're trying to be efficient anyway and in every movement of the job. So they're probably in that regard a little better about where they're putting the batteries during the job as well.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, nowhere you're going to put it is going to take too long, in the truck. We're not
Yeah.
using big trucks or anything, but I try to systemize both trucks that we have. So if someone else is in another truck the next day, they know relatively where they need to go to get a battery or whatever it is.
Mhm.
They're not just tossed somewhere in the bed of the truck and we have to find which battery's dead, which battery's not. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you offer thatching and aeration?
no, we don't do that. That's not very common in our area with our turf. No.
Okay. And any kind of treatments, lawn care treatments?
No, we just do bed maintenance. That's it. We'll take care of weeds and stuff like that in flower beds. but we don't really do any fertilizer or anything like that, or pest control or anything.
Is that pretty common that people would do treatments and pest control?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so much bugs out here. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Definitely. There's other larger companies in the area, True Green, for example, that just pests, just do fertilizer. It's pretty normal. Like customers expect, like these guys doing my lawn, and then somebody else is
Uh,
going to do treatments. It's
yeah.
not like, oh, why don't you guys do this, this, and this? They expect us to do their weeds, do their bushes, do like a leaf cleanup or something, and then they're mowing. Yeah.
So do you offer any kind of projects or just cleanups, mulch installs, bed maintenance, just the
Simple,
basic?
just the basics, just simple services again. Yep. We come in, get people trained up, and they know how to do it. Yeah, there's nothing complicated that we do. If there is some sort of little bit of complication job, if it's small, I'll probably do it myself. But for the team, they do basic services.
Any kind of edging for the beds?
No, we don't do any of that. No, no.
Wow. So how have you found it? Mainly mowing and then adding a few of these other services. Have you found that to be the smartest way to get route density and, like you said, get people trained up? Has that been beneficial to you, you think, rather than add other projects?
I think definitely training wise, yeah, it's
Mhm.
easier. But as you get more complicated projects, you're going to need more skilled labor, which
Yep.
is going to be harder to find, and then you're going to want higher compensation for that. Mike knows it very well. Like I follow what he says. If you hire someone that does turf, which I know you guys did, I met him,
Mhm.
and he leaves, well, there goes your turf division.
Totally.
So if I get a guy that does edging, because I've never done edging. I've looked
Mhm.
on YouTube for it, but I'm
Yeah.
not a professional for sure. And if he left, even if he taught me, I can't be, for example, at every edging project in the future. So it's just too much skilled. Like, same with irrigation. Everybody hears irrigation. We don't do irrigation. But if I did hire some guys to do irrigation, I would need to train the entire team to do it. And that's just more skill, more just errors. I feel more headache, just like
Yeah.
what Mike had to deal with when you have so many different retaining walls and pavers and all that. It's just keep it simple services. I want the team to show up on a property and they know exactly what they need to do. There's no guesswork or anything like that. It makes it easier for them. Their day goes by faster. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So how have you found it with being with Augusta and your revenue? And how many spring seasons have you had? When did you come for training?
So I came for training last March, 2022. And for us, that's like anyone, that's really the beginning of our spring
Yeah,
rush.
no kidding.
Of course, this spring rush, the second spring rush now is a lot, more successful than
Yeah.
last year and even this summer, everything, just because we got more brand recognition now. We have the website ranking well and everything. So, this will be my first full year with Augusta, but I mean, mowing season wise, really last year was still a full season. Starting March, it's pretty much beginning of the year. We've like tripled our revenue, I would say, or almost double to triple our revenue, monthly revenue by after joining with Augusta here.
Yeah. When you thought of starting as a solo model, did you ever think you would grow that fast?
Not even this year. I mean, going to conference, I remember talking to other guys like, yeah, I hope to get this and this and this level by, May or June or July or whatever. And, we had reached my year goal, I think you say, by like May already. By
Wow.
May, we were like where I thought we were going to be, maybe like August or July or something. So we grew very quickly in the spring. And then we've kind of just coasted for now. But we grew very quickly. And I think that's just with everything, brand recognition. The website's ranking really well. We have more Google reviews. With all that just compounding, I mean, it's going to be even worse, even more, more
Yeah.
successful next spring rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect way to say that it's going to be even worse, more successful next
Mhm.
spring because you're in the solo model and you grew so fast. How is that like in yourself and emotionally? And how do you deal with that kind of massive growth and almost
Mhm.
like, oh my word, this is too much. This needs to slow down.
Mhm.
And then the whole struggle of whether you should keep growing.
Well, one, I have to go into the growth model by next spring, so I have no choice.
So that's
so,
more pressure. That's even more pressure, right? So
yeah, yeah.
you've got to pay the fee to go into growth model. Um,
Mhm.
when you look back at this, do you think if somebody had told you this was going to happen, would you have just waited to save money for the growth model? Or are you glad you jumped in?
No, I'm glad I jumped in for sure. I mean, you're getting your feet wet, you're getting to know the systems even before you get into the growth model. And that way, when you're in the growth model, you can really just run with it and take off with Augusta. No, I definitely don't think you need to wait. I mean, yeah, there's benefits of joining straight into the growth model, even monetary benefits. But I think just getting your feet wet, getting to know the systems, and talking to other franchisees definitely helps to propel your business forward faster than if I
Yeah.
would have just waited till 2024 to join Augusta. You know.
Yeah, so the struggle of growing so fast, not expecting to grow that fast, and then thinking now you've got to prepare for the growth model and try to afford that, but this is still overwhelming. So how do you handle that? Do you raise your prices to try to lose some customers so that you can balance things out a little bit?
Yeah, so that's what we did within the last month or so. We raised our prices. We're actually at $80 an hour now, and we raised our prices. We lost a few customers, so we're not overwhelmed, and we can be a little more profitable for the remaining half of the year. Save up so we can survive, the wintertime, and
Mm-hmm.
also be able to do buy into the growth model next spring, and have more capital to get another truck because we're going to need another truck in the spring for sure, and fill that truck with 2 more employees. So this is the time now to kind of save and kind of coast for the rest of the year, and just rack in the profits so we can grow and in the growth model and as a business as well next spring.
Yeah, so we call that the solo model because the guy's usually just solo working out there.
Yeah.
But you grew so fast, you did have to get employees, right?
Yeah, I have 4 currently right now, 4
Wow.
teams. So there's technically 5 of us. Yeah, yeah.
So are they doing 2 guys in a truck, or do you have 4 trucks and they're all doing single routes?
No, no, no. They prefer to be together in a truck. They're not as efficient on P4P, and they understand that. But just the
Mhm.
morale is better throughout the day. They're not working as hard. We don't even do large properties, but they prefer it. They prefer to work together because some yards were still are still a little big, so it can take us like an hour. And then if they have bush trimming on top of that, and there's lots of bushes, there's another hour, and they don't want to sit on a property for 2 hours by themselves. They rather have another guy with them, kind of they understand they're working together on it. They prefer to be together. So we have 2 people in one truck, and then there's if we have like a big project or something, we'll have to rent a truck, or I'll just follow the guys around and I'll help them catch up or something like that in the route.
Mhm. Do you have any lawns that are tiered where you'd have to actually step down 2 or 3 feet from a wall or anything like that, or take your mowers upstairs?
Not upstairs, but we do have one that's near a hill. We have a
Mhm.
big lake here in Winter Garden, and there's this like mansion house that overlooks the lake. And the front of the yard, it steps down, and then there's like a small retaining wall, maybe about 3 feet, and then there's like a little ditch area we have to mow. So it's not, Florida's pretty flat. That's probably definitely our most hilliest yard that we have. So yeah, definitely not any upstairs. Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't
the
have any
reason
stairs.
I asked that is because there's jobs that we were going to have or had. And if we had a solo route, there was no way any of the guys could move the mower up and down. So we had to lose the job or always make sure there were 2 guys
Mhm.
on it. But I'm thinking with your 50-pound mowers, if that was a situation for you, it really wouldn't be an issue.
No, I mean you can lift those things up. You can lift it with one arm. Really, it depends on how high you're going to go. Yeah, they're not very heavy, for sure. So that's the benefit of using those mowers, for example, is how lightweight they are. Yeah.
So in your area being flat, is it pretty much easier for you to do OTP? Have your numbers been pretty good, or do you still drive to everyone and do an estimate?
No, no. I mean, Command Center does all the OTPs. There's very, very rarely there's an error there. Just some houses have a bunch of oak trees, so that's
Mm.
where it's a little difficult for Command Center. So I'll have to do a drive by then. But I would say about 80-90% of the mowing estimates we get, Command Center does over the phone. Yeah.
And
Or
what
we have also new construction, so sometimes they can't see new construction.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then do you go out for those if the house, might not even be built yet, but with the square footage of the lawn and looking at Redfin or something, would you still just try to bid it?
Yeah, so especially when they're in a neighborhood being built, you kind of compare it with the houses that are in the area
Yeah.
on the street and stuff. And then I go on our properties appraisal website a lot of times too, and they'll already have the yard and the house square footage already inserted in there, and I can just do some math there and figure out approximately what the turf size would be, and it's pretty accurate. I've been using it now for a long, long time. So
Yeah, I've always wondered, like I remember Augusta, Georgia, just looking at their lot in a whole new area. So all the plots were there, but it was just a couple houses that were being built and they were getting bids from them. Do you think it would be dumb to go as soon as these houses were just starting to get built, to go as soon as they had a front door, to put door hangers on them and bid them all, even though the prices would be slightly different?
I mean, yeah, we have a neighborhood where we do that. There's houses still being built, and as soon as there's a sign that someone moved in, we go and put door hangers on there. We have those
Nice.
Augusta door hangers. They're like, "Welcome to the neighborhood," and we used to put those out so as well. So yeah, I mean, we as soon as it looks like they moved in, we'll put a door hanger on there, and then those neighbors will go on their Facebook page or whatever. They'll need lawn care. They'll get Augusta recommended. They'll be like, "Oh, they just put a door hanger the other day on our
Yeah.
door." There you go. So yeah, as soon as they're built, we put a door hanger on. They're going to need it, especially people move from up north. They don't know anyone in the area. Why not welcome them with the door
I love
hanger?
it. I love it.
Yeah,
Do you use any of the Insta quotes where you put a
yeah.
weekly and bi-weekly on?
That's all we use. Either that or the welcome to the neighborhood
Yeah.
for the new development. But everything else is all the instant quotes. Yeah, yeah.
What do you plan to do for the winter?
So again, it's Florida. The grass usually grows all year round. It kind of
Yeah.
goes a little dormant, like December, January, February. But we're still like last winter when we did winter services. We're still cutting everyone's yard bi-weekly. There was a few
Mm,
customers that still wanted weekly even, but everyone was still bi-weekly. And then those weeks that we weren't cutting their yards, we were going and doing bush trimming, bed maintenance, cleaning off fences, cobwebs. Doing a leaf cleanup. So we were really still on everyone's property every week. So it was good for revenue. It was good for hours for the guys because
yeah.
their hours were only reduced maybe by like 5 hours a week when it was cut.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So the
we're
customers were still paying their weekly price.
yeah. I was surprised again, just like anything else, of how many
Yeah.
customers kept winter services.
Yep.
Even where like I don't even know what to do on these people's properties.
Exactly.
And I always tell the guys what I think Mike or someone else said in one of the videos is like they pay for us to come here weekly to show up on their yellow trucks, to walk around their yellow with their wearing yellow shirts around the property, and to feel good that wow, I have a lawn care service. They're here, taking care of my yard, and they feel good with the other neighbors, like they have someone take care of their home, dusting off their doormats and stuff like that, and blowing the leaves off their driveway and their cars even. So they just those little things they'll keep us just because of
Yeah.
that. They like to see us do that.
Just to have eyes on your property is really comforting. If you travel or anything, well, I
Mhm.
know Augusta's going to be there. And if anything seems a little weird on the property, they're going to let us know.
Yeah, we do some rental properties, and we usually some of them we send like after job photos to every week, and they love us. Sometimes those are actually our best customers, are their property management companies and landlords, because we're keeping eyes on their property. We send them photos of their job afterwards, so they can keep an eye on it without actually driving to the property. They know, oh, Augusta's going to be there on Thursday to mow the lawn. I'm going to get photos of them. I can see what it looks like. Hey, it looks like it's time to do bush trimming. Can you guys go ahead and schedule your bushes? Or there's some cracks in the driveway. Can you guys hit them with a trimmer or whatever it is? They work their eyes on the property, like you said. So those are sometimes our best customers. Yeah.
That is awesome. I know that I would want that too. I know customers that we've had in the past where we would be on the property and like you said, they might be a rental or something, or they're frequently out of town. And we saw that the back door was open. And we thought, oh, that's kind of weird. But because we're comfortable with them, they went in the house and checked it all out.
Oh.
And we immediately let the owner know, even though he wasn't, rarely comes
Mhm.
to the property. It just seems a little weird that your back door is standing open.
Mhm.
And he's so appreciative and then made sure he went over right away. But yeah, there's a huge benefit to coming every week, which is awesome that you don't have to go bi-weekly for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. It's the luxury of being down here. It's
Yeah,
consistent kind of cash flow throughout the year for that. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I could open my own location. If anybody's been with Augusta for 2 years, they can do the 3F program. And
Including you. Yeah.
including me. And
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to Florida and I wanted to
Yeah.
do electric and I wanted to do Florida because it was, summer all year round.
Yeah.
To keep bringing recurring income. But
Mhm.
the guys picked on me so much and laughed me to scorn. So you
Yeah.
never
But
know.
the opportunity is always there. There's still plenty of territories available.
Yeah. So the market is pretty good there, isn't it?
Yeah, at least in my area. I don't want to speak for all the franchisees everywhere,
Yeah.
but in my area, there's as I grow, I do want to open up other franchise locations. And there's even one just south of me, just north of Disney World. Lots of development
Whoa.
there, lots
Yeah.
of small houses. Yeah, a lot of our customers work for Disney. So, but yeah, even south of us, there's a lot of development there and a lot of places to put door hangers and get our mowers out there. So I can't wait to grow this location and then open up the second one because I already know where it's going to be. I just hope no one doesn't take it yet.
Yeah,
So that's all.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you got winter services down. Let's talk a little bit about CRMs. If you're a solo operator, Service Autopilot is a little bit spendy and
Mhm.
you're not going to use probably every function that's in it. So when you joined, were you trained into Service Autopilot or did you start with Super?
We start with Super. Yeah.
So, and it's not really worth it to switch because we're going into Copilot. And I know that hasn't been a good experience. So, have you just learned workarounds in Super?
Yeah, kind of. It's been pretty frustrating,
Yeah,
especially the last couple months because development has and kind of fixing some of the bugs have kind of stopped.
yeah,
So yeah, workarounds or just kind of dealing with some of the errors that you deal with. It's definitely not the most joyful thing. So I'm looking forward to switching to Copilot, where I know if there's something wrong, it's usually going to get taken care of within like right away or within a couple of days. So yeah.
yeah. That's why we want to roll the Super people in first because they're going to be a little more gracious.
Yeah, the worst thing we struggle with is invoicing
Yeah,
because it's the more customers you have, the longer it takes. And for me, it's like a 3-4 hour ordeal right
that's
now.
terrible.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that I want to save is
Yeah,
just get rid of everything else is okay. I can deal with dispatching and all that and scheduling. It's the invoice is the worst part. So I'm hoping I can get in before October 1st. I don't know.
yes,
The 18th it starts. We'll see. But if I don't, it's okay. But if I don't have to do another month of those invoices,
yeah.
yeah, it takes so long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you are looking to go to growth.
yeah.
And when you get to growth, will you be planning to just go crazy growing when you start that? Or are you still going to be just kind of steady? Because I'm asking that because if you just go crazy going growth, you would probably need almost all the services at command so that you can be not dealing with all of that and just be doing estimates really while your guys work in the field.
Well, I definitely would just grow, but
Yeah,
you got to have money to do that. So
right.
that's going to be the biggest factor is how much capital we have in the bank to how fast we'll grow.
Hmm.
And then when it comes to the resources from command center, it's the same thing. It goes back to if I am not super overloaded, I'll take on some of those easier tasks that
Hmm.
command center can do.
Yeah.
Like P for me is pretty simple. I can run P for P myself. But some of those like managing the email, for example, would probably be one of the first things I would give off to command center going to growth model just because it's more time consuming
Yeah.
to do, and I'll pay them to do that. Yeah, so that we continue doing estimates, and as we grow, like especially what I saw this year, like we get so slammed with estimates that it's going to take time out of my day to go do with some of the tasks that command center can do for me.
Yeah. Do you have anybody on your crew that you feel like is strong enough to be a leader that you could have them kind of running the business for you if you had to step away for anything?
No, not right now. No, no,
Do your
unfortunately.
employees listen to any of the content?
I try to encourage it, but I don't think many of them do, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't. I try to. I share with them sometimes. Like when Mike was kind of showing like some of the AI calls in the beginning, I was kind of playing some of those in the morning for them. But yeah, they're not, as into lawn care or Augusta as much as I would want them to be. I'm still looking for my Jeremy in Augusta, so
Yeah.
he's out there hopefully somewhere.
Somewhere. I hope so
Yeah.
too. Yeah, that's the first sign if they're actually watching the content on their own without being prodded by anyone that
Yeah.
they might be your person.
Yeah, I get applicants that tell me, "Hey, I saw the video that you sent about fee for fee or something like that." But once they start working, yeah, they're just working for the paycheck, really.
Yeah.
They're not really trying to grow within the company or anything like that.
How
No.
many people that you interview have already seen Augusta?
So I think only like maybe a few, like seeing our
Hmm.
trucks roll around. I don't, I don't think I've interviewed anyone that saw us online before the interview. I think they'll apply for us. I might respond to them, and they'll go online and check us out. But I know I have like one or two guys saw our trucks driving around, and that's why they applied with us. But I
Yeah,
know that'll change as we, get more well known online and everything.
definitely. So if you had to do this all over again, would you do anything differently?
Yeah, I was thinking about this answer. So I would have definitely have risen my prices more consistently since joining Augusta to be where I'm at today, which is about $80 an hour. So I wish we were at $80 an hour starting this March. And I just did it now in August, just so we can have more room for capital and stuff. It might have slowed our growth a little bit down,
Yeah,
but it would have been just as making the same amount of money revenue wise
exactly.
because you're charging the customers more. Would have been a little less headache and stuff like that. So that's something I'm doing differently going forward. And I thought about another thing was like, well, would I go to gas if I was to start all over? And I don't know. I
Yeah.
still am not sure if I would switch over to gas or to stay electric. But I don't know. I've been trying to follow all the systems that Augusta's created since day one. It just took me a couple months to kind of figure everything out, being a new franchisee, and it really took off for me this year. I think I really understand everything now, especially going to conference as my first conference as a franchisee. You really get into the vision of everything and where the direction we're going. And I think that really helped me propel to my success this year and really dig into the systems and follow it. And Chuck has been a great influence as well with all his videos and content he's put out there. Especially another thing, like Mike has created all these other locations. I think that
Hmm.
really helps out as well. Like he's doing it, follow these systems. You'll get similar results with that. So I think that's definitely helpful.
Yeah. Do you think it's made a difference in your very fast success that you didn't have a business for a long time, didn't know anything about Augusta, and had created all these bad habits?
What was the beginning of the question? I'm sorry.
Well, the question is really like you, from the very beginning, you were following the systems before you even came to Augusta. But
Hmm.
let's say you had a large company and you already had a bunch of experience and you
Got
came
it.
to Augusta. Do you think it's easier for you coming in like you did, already being kind of in the systems, basically being teachable? Because if
Hmm.
you had all your systems down and all the stuff that you knew how to do and you were bucking up against the systems, do you feel like it's been to your advantage to be all in?
Yeah, for sure. I think anyone that, if you're going to come with closed minded, like, I know the right way of doing things, I know how to do it, I'm not going to listen. Obviously, joining a franchise, Augusta or whatever it is not the right thing for you. But you have to be, no matter how, if you have little skill or no skill, you have to be eager and willing to learn from
Hmm.
others, from corporate, from other franchisees. And I think that's a benefit that I have. Like, I may have had some bad habits, but I knew no matter what I wanted to learn, what Augusta is providing. And I just open my arms to whatever you guys threw at me, and I tried to do them as successful as I can. And I think anyone that's with that same mentality could be, the same successful or more. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's
I just
that's what I've noticed from watching people that be like, I've seen this work before. I don't understand it, but if I just trust the systems, it's going to work for me.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, looking forward, what's your 5-year goal?
Well, I kind of touched on it earlier. So yeah, so definitely grow this location to maybe at least 500,000, maybe a little bit more. Have a general manager either work at this location and then I also want to start a second location just south of here, kind of like button up right next to ours. Maybe we
Hmm.
can share even a shop space still, and just kind of send out two different crews, two
Yeah.
different GMs, kind of like what Garrett, I think, what and Thomas do, right? No,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. So they have two locations. They just kind of split up from one shop space. So that's what I'm thinking. I kind of want to do. Again, grow this location a little bit, grow another one. There's still other pockets in like Orlando that are high income households, small properties. That would be like a third or fourth location in the future. Yeah, definitely going to stay in the area that I know really well. I'm not going to go open up a location in Charlotte or St.
Yeah.
Louis or anything like that. I don't know those markets at all.
Yeah.
Maybe in the far future, but right now I'm just sticking to my town that I know well, and I know where the money's at, the opportunities
Yeah.
are at.
Some people, when they come to Augusta, they're not ready for the changes that happen so fast. We're always on the cutting edge. We're always trying to improve things every single day. How can we make this better? If a franchisee struggles with something, I'm immediately like, how do we need to change command to make it better? Does the whole technology and the AI thing, does it make you really nervous?
Nope, no. You have to look at the whole history of like mankind. We've
Mhm.
always been accelerating or increasing technology, and you kind of just have to embrace it. You know, we talk about a lot, like Mike's mentioned, you know, we had horse and buggies and then cars came out, and then where are we at today? If you were scared of cars, you know, you're walking to your job, you know? So you kind of just have to take it. I mean, people were scared of computers when they first came out. Now they're
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. So, you know, something like a little Max answering the phone is probably nothing compared to like other technology that's possibly out there right now. So if you can't, and I'm not putting anyone down when I say this, but if you can't adopt such a simple technology in your business, what happens when robotics come into lawn care? I mean,
Yeah,
that's a much bigger technology and a much impact. It's going to impact us much more, and you have to be open to some of the smaller like challenge. There's always going to be, I mean, there's always going to be, you know, hiccups with it, of course. I mean, that's with
definitely.
anything for sure. But, you know, you have to look at the long-term vision, the long-term goal, and how is it benefiting you today a little bit as well. So I'm not afraid. You know, I stand right behind what we're doing at Augusta, and I'm excited for it. And Max answers my calls 24/7 right now. It's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a feisty guy sometimes, but all of our staff really appreciates him. They feel
Yeah.
like he takes a little bit of the brunt of stuff for them, and they're much better able to help the customers. That's
Yeah.
really,
And he's not perfect either, just like a human. You know,
yeah,
he's going to make mistakes. He's going to make customers angry, but he's able to take on, you know, 10 times more calls in an hour, for example, versus a human, you know? So you got to have to think of that. Like people only look at sometimes as just a negative, like, oh, I don't want to fly a plane. They're dangerous, but
yeah,
jumping on the highway over here is 10 times more dangerous. So people don't look at, you know, all the numbers sometimes.
yeah. So you're
So
able to have a big picture, the big
yeah,
picture view. That's good.
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
spoke at conference in January. What did you speak about?
Knowing your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So I went over on there like how to know when you're hitting your labor capacity, your asset capacity, your profitability. What was really interesting, which I learned, was how much we're spending on training, just hiring someone, training them, onboarding them, and then how long does it take to break even from all that training? It
Yeah,
was significantly more money. If I remember correctly, like my numbers were about a little over $7,000
crazy.
to interview someone, hire them, train them, how much budget hours are needed to complete in order to break even from all that training. So I need to generate about, at the time, what I remember, about $7,000 worth of revenue to break even to bringing someone on. So it was, and I kind of compared numbers a little bit with Chuck because Mike said that he had run some numbers. So
Mhm.
we were relatively close in the ballpark. So I know I'm not too far off, but it was very interesting to see that. And yeah, I hope that it was some benefits to some of
Yeah,
the franchisees. I
for
think it was a
sure.
little bit more interest in it than I thought it would be. So it was great to speak. It was an honor to speak at conference. I hope I have the opportunity to do that again. I love helping people. Don't know if
Yeah,
that's obvious on Facebook on our group page, but
great.
yeah, I love helping people, and I appreciate when people help me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate that you have taken the time today and that you have shared about the electric because I know a lot of people have questions about that, whether it would be worth it or not. I don't know about them being fully gas and then switching over,
What
but
I
there's
always, yeah,
positives.
what I always tell them is just try a couple of pieces of equipment with them and see if they like it, if their crews like it. And sometimes you have to try different brands out as well. So sometimes they just try one thing and they're like, oh, I don't like this, and they just throw the whole thing away. But no matter what, technology is going to push us in that direction. So you either have to kind of adopt it in now, or you're going to have to eventually, for
Mhm.
sure. So yeah.
It's not often that people have a platform to be able to say, hey, if I could talk to other landscapers or business owners about the highs, the lows, what kind of advice would you give somebody that's starting out or kind of discouraged right now with their business?
I mean, there's so many ways to go with that. Discouraged or starting out. You know, yeah, just like anything with Ryan Payne would say, you just got to put your head down and grind, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard work. There's going to be a lot of stressful days,
Hmm.
tough days. But sometimes it's just good to take a break, hang out with the family and friends on the weekends, and have a good still work-life balance. I
Yeah.
think that's important. But you just got to keep going with it, keep working on. Mike says this a lot. It takes 3 to 5 years to kind of see some of your fruits of your labor.
Hmm.
So, and I think that's true. You just gotta have to keep working hard for the first couple of years, and then, you know, after you put in some of that grind, you can start seeing some of those payoffs. But if you're in for this for the long run, you just got to keep pushing forward. And yeah, and
That's
in talking to other people definitely helps. Like if you're struggling, talk to other homeowners, either or not homeowners, owners, either
Yeah.
within Augusta or not. Like there's other blogs out there, with other lawn care owners or business owners in general, and then just talk, share someone with your, get connections with them, meet them in person if possible, or events, and that definitely helps. That definitely helps when
Mm-hmm.
you talk to other people. Like if I was by myself and there wasn't all this Augusta support, I wouldn't have been this successful. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
enjoying this as much as I would. It's because we have this big community and everything that I enjoy, like being part of Augusta so much.
Mm-hmm. What kind of content do you listen to, or do you listen to anything?
Mainly YouTube. I have YouTube Premium. It's nice, no ads.
Me too.
C-Suite is a good podcast for all the
Yeah.
people out there. Liz, I watched a lot of your videos as well. That's good. Mike, just the typical guys out there, Alex
Mm-hmm.
Ramosi and other financial real estate, bigger pockets I listen to as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that's good is I listen to, there's some course stuff on Indeed, not Indeed, on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, LinkedIn. I have my email account with when I was going to school in University of Central Florida, and there's a whole bunch of like lecture kind of series on
Nice.
training, leadership development, personal development, culture, and all that kind of stuff in there. So sometimes when I'm at home or something, I'll just listen to some of those videos that they put out there, and it's all free, at least with the school account.
Awesome.
So that's good.
Yeah. Do they still know you're connected?
I don't know. They don't ask, so they just needed the email. So
They're not
that's all
on
I
to you
did.
yet.
No, but yeah. And then some of the books, audio books as well. When I'm out working, I'll listen to some audio books. But I usually like the podcasts and the videos more.
Yeah.
Because they're usually more tangible, actionable things to do. Sometimes books are so fluffy, like, oh, this and that. But I want something like direct, like, hey, you need to go do this tomorrow, or do this today, or in a year, or this is what should be done or shouldn't be done. So.
Right. And you're logging in like a day after, 9 hours after. So it's always fresh.
Yeah, it's always fresh. It's current. It's up to date. Yeah. So that's what I like about the videos and the podcast.
Yeah. So in closing, do you have a quote or quotes, anything to share with us?
So I'm not a big quote person, but I did think of something. So in the last 2023 NBA playoffs, everyone knows Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks got out of the playoffs, and they were asking him during the conference after, was this year a failure? And he told everyone, like, do they think Michael Jordan is a failure because he only won 6 rings out of, I think, 9 seasons? So those 3 seasons, was he a failure? And I think of that like lawn care or anything you're doing in life, like, there's going to be bumps along the way, and there might be many failures, but overall, you're not a failure. So if you keep pushing, keep working hard, if you go back and look at the last 10 years or your career, you're probably going to be successful, but not every year, every season, every play is out there is going to be successful. You have to look at the long term. No one's going to say Michael Jordan's a failure. So you can't go back and say, oh, Mike made this and this mess up, with this and this, he's a failure. No, I mean, look where he's at today. Look where you're at today, Liz. You had hiccups along your life as well, and you're doing great. You're moving forward. That's the important part.
That is the important part. So I much appreciate you coming on. I know this will help a lot of people, and just to be encouraged. And for the franchisees, it's just so nice to get to know somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to see everyone again soon in a month. So it's exciting. And again, thank you, Liz. I appreciate this. It's an honor to be on the channel.
Excellent. All right. Well, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.